Question 18. In experiment 1, 1 gram of zinc granules and 50 cm³ of 0.5 mol per dm cubed sulfuric acid react to produce hydrogen gas. The volume of hydrogen produced is measured. The results for experiment 1 are plotted on the graph. This experiment is repeated with one change, and the results for experiment 2 are plotted on the graph. What change is made in experiment 2? So let's write out the chemical equation for this reaction. We know that metal reacts with acid to give a metal salt, in this case zinc 2 sulfate, and hydrogen gas. It is already balanced. We have 1 gram of zinc granules reacting with 50 cm³ of this particular concentration of sulfuric acid, and hydrogen gas, which is one out of the two products, is the product that is measured. The difference in experiment 1 and experiment 2 is, first of all, maybe the rate, because experiment 2 has a much steeper initial portion, which means the volume of hydrogen produced was this much within a shorter period of time compared to in experiment 1. So the rate must have been faster. And another difference between experiment 1 and 2 is where the graph plateaus. The final volume of hydrogen gas produced is higher in experiment 2 than in experiment 1. Which change is made in experiment 2? A catalyst is used. This is partially correct because using a catalyst will increase the rate of the reaction, but it will not increase the final volume of hydrogen gas produced. So A is not the correct option. B, more zinc granules are used. This could be the case because with more zinc granules, we can increase the products formed, which will increase the volume of hydrogen gas produced. So this could be right. The reaction is at a higher temperature. This is partially correct again. Using a higher temperature will increase the rate of the reaction because it increases the kinetic energy of the particles and allow them to collide more frequently, but it will not increase the volume of hydrogen gas produced at the end of the experiment. So C is wrong. The sulfuric acid is more concentrated. This could be right because having a more concentrated sulfuric acid used, we are essentially increasing the amount of sulfuric acid reactant and thereby increasing the products formed. So to decide between options B and D, we need to find out which one of the reactants, zinc or sulfuric acid, is the limiting reagent. We need to do so by comparing the number of moles of each reactant. The number of moles of zinc can be obtained by the mass over the atomic mass of zinc, which is 65, giving us about 0.0154 mole. To find the number of mole of sulfuric acid, we need to multiply the concentration by the volume used, taking into account the conversion of the volume from cm³ to dm³. Which should give us about 0.025 mole. Comparing the amount of zinc and sulfuric acid in terms of the number of mole, we know that zinc is the limiting reagent. And we can think of the acid as the reactant that is in excess. So in order to increase the product form, in this case the amount of hydrogen gas produced as seen in experiment 2, we need to increase the limiting reagent, which is to increase the amount of zinc reactant used. Increasing the amount of acid used will not change the amount of hydrogen gas produced because the acid is already in excess, and the amount of hydrogen gas produced is solely dependent on the amount of limiting reagent, which is zinc. So B will be the correct answer.